The Baltimore and Ohio followed the snaking Potomac River when it was first built in 1842. 64 years later, technology had advanced to permit construction of what was to become the Magnolia Cut Off. Completed in 1914, the route saved 5.8 miles compared with the river running line. Both lines served together for nearly 50 years, and the low line was removed in 1961. We will see action of the cutoff from Paw Paw, West Virginia, to H.O. Tower north of the Orleans Road crossing. This GP40-2 was formerly B&O's number 4327. We're at milepost 158, and shortly, a westbound will head past on the other track. This is R135 at Paw Paw, West Virginia. The old B&O depot still remains where the low-line trackage once stood. It was at Paw Paw where the low line once parted from the high line. We are still in the vicinity of Paw Paw, and an eastbound coal drag, U308, heads past our camera. At Carruthers Tunnel, we catch another eastbound. This is R396. We are at the east portal. We're now located at the west side of Carruthers Tunnel, and a westbound manifest makes its appearance, headed by a C40-8. On the Magnolia Cutoff, you will find 4 double-track tunnels. From east to west, they are the Carruthers Tunnel, where we are located now, Graham Tunnel, Stewart, and Randolph. All but the Graham Tunnel are in West Virginia. An eastbound manifest exits the tunnel headed by SD 50 number 8585. The color position signal displays green for symbol freight S347. The S in the symbol freight stands for the second section of R347. An SD-50 heads this eastbound out of the west portal of Carruthers Tunnel. This 993-foot tunnel is also built on a gentle curve. The bore runs through sandstone, slate, and shale. And next, R343 heads into the tunnel. The lead GP40-2 was originally B&O 4242. And very shortly, Q376 heads out of the tunnel, led by Conrail 6807. Next, a C40-8W leads symbol freight Q376 out of Carruthers Tunnel. And our last train at this picturesque location is headed by SD 40-2, number 8217. The famous concrete wall was the most impressive landmark on the cutoff. To build the cutoff, the B&O had to slice into a ridge which went directly into the river. The engineers removed 80,000 cubic yards of rock and then built an 1,800-foot-long retaining wall, and all this without interfering with traffic on the low line. The impressive amount of traffic on the cutoff allows little time for maintenance of way trains, but somehow they are squeezed in. R396, headed by a C40-8W, sweeps through the curve highlighted by the concrete wall. And very shortly, R341 heads past in the opposite direction. Kessler Bridge was built during the summer of 1914. About 1,052 feet long, the bridge consists of 4 100-foot and 6 75-foot deck plate girders, as well as 3 skewed girders. Graham Tunnel is located at the east end of the bridge. The access road to the bridge also serves as a great run for dune buggies. The SD-50 on the lead of this empty coal train was originally B&O's 8581 as well. R217 next heads west out of the tunnel and across Kessler Bridge. And the R217 is followed by Q375. The 7679 is another C40-8W. The 6201 heading this eastbound coal was once B&O's number 4302. This dramatic shot of a westbound military train is also unique because a beautiful sounding and rare U-30-C heads the train. And sweeping around the curve from the opposite direction is R342, headed by two GP40s and a GP38-2. At Graham Tunnel, we catch an SD40 and another GP38-2 heading symbol freight R342. Also built in 1914 was the Magnolia Bridge. An incredible amount of fill was necessary at the east end of the bridge. So much fill was necessary that the amount of material taken from excavating Stewart Tunnel was not enough to make up this filled-in lead to the bridge. And eastbound R396 appears very shortly afterwards. Two former Western Maryland F units are in tow behind the lead power of R343 as it heads westbound. And 7608, another C40-8W, heads out of the tunnel with eastbound symbol U601. R217 next heads across the bridge. From a new vantage point, we get a much better look at Magnolia Bridge. The trees hide the huge amount of fill that was necessary to reach this high bridge over the Potomac. And we next catch R342 as it heads eastbound across the bridge. An SD-50 heads this empty coal train with symbol B111. Eastbound auto racks grace the rear of 8257 and SD-40-2. That's the east portal of Graham Tunnel on the west side of the bridge. Just east of the Magnolia Bridge is Stewart Tunnel. This was a difficult tunnel to bore as the strata was broken and rotten. The tunnel collapsed time and time again. Timber linings were replaced with steel forms and arches, but they didn't hold either. Finally, I-beams had to be woven into place. This is Q375 heading westbound. Q376 makes a dramatic exit for us out of the east portal. The position signals display green for westbound Q375. R396 next heads eastbound at the west portal. The original plan for the west end of Stewart Tunnel called for a portal about 160 feet closer to our camera. The roof collapsed early on, and the decision was made to make a cut out of this area. Just east of the Randolph Tunnel lies Hansrote. Hansrote became a mere place name after completion of the cutoff. A GP 38-2 heads this westbound work train near Hansrote. We're at milepost 144. Shortly, an empty westbound coal heads through Hansrote. Randolph Tunnel is built on a 4-degree curve and is 1,014 feet in length. Rotten rock again complicated the building of this tunnel. The roof of the tunnel was of brick because the B&O learned that steam exhaust gases had little effect on brick. This is R137 heading westbound. And R217 blasts out of the tunnel heading westbound. A sensational view awaits us overlooking Randolph Tunnel and the Potomac. This is R135. Two C40-8Ws and one C40-8 roar into Randolph Tunnel. And more C40s pop out of the tunnel headed in the opposite direction. This location is one of the finest photographic areas on the cutoff. .7627 heads R396 around the super-elevated curve leading into Randolph Tunnel. The arch was timber-lined when first built and left in place when the permanent lining was added. Steve captured R135 heading west in this beautifully lit shot at Randolph Tunnel. A trio of C40-8Ws heads symbol freight R217 west of the tunnel. This picturesque location is easily accessible via the road below the High Line. A vivid shot. This S-curve really sets off this loaded coal train. Two SD-50s growl upgrade with B-111 through the scenic fall colors. The work train we saw earlier now heads past our location at Randolph Tunnel. A light appears in the tunnel announcing R342. A single SD-50 drags this empty coal out of the west portal. B&O Lineside Industries provided much of the material for the cutoff. Construction of this tunnel apparently exceeded a previous world record set at the Sand Patch Tunnel on what was then the Connellsville Division. A single horn blast announces the arrival of westbound Q375. After leaving Randolph Tunnel, the tracks head through Doe Gully. 1,400,000 cubic yards of mostly rock were removed from Doe Gully. Most of this fill was used to create the Rockwell Run fill a couple miles east of Doe Gully. This GP40-2 and its partners plow through the Rockwell Run curve with R342. We're near milepost 140.
Defect detector. Milepost 140.7. Track number 1.
We've relocated to the Orleans Road crossing. The detector is announcing the previous train we saw at Rockwell Run. This location is the start of the east end of the Magnolia Cutoff.
Total axle 244. CSX equipment defect detector. Milepost 140.7. Track number 1. No defects. Length of train 5572. Train speed 40. Total axle 244. Safety first, always. End of transmission.
This Conrail train carries symbol number R343 when on Conrail tracks. We are at Turkey Foot Curve. An eastbound rail train next heads around Turkey Foot Curve. Sidling Hill is located at milepost 134. Here we catch R343. R135 now passes Woodmont Farm Road heading westbound. Great Capicon at milepost 132.7 offers an incredible panoramic view of CSX action at its best. It is late evening, and this is R343 heading westbound. The next morning, we see this location dressed in morning sunlight. Amtrak's number 30 heads next through Pear Orchard Curve, located at milepost 130. And soon R342 follows Amtrak. Milepost 130 is busy this morning. For an eastbound coal, B889 growls past, also heading eastbound. Train meets are always worth watching. At Sir John's Run, we catch a meet between Q376 eastbound and a westbound. We're at milepost 128.6. '6765 heads U820 and this loaded coal train at Sir John's Run. Westbound R137 punches a hole in the morning mist as it passes Grasshopper Interlocking. Grasshopper Interlocking is located at milepost 125 between Sir John's Run and H.O. Tower. This is R217. We are 1/2 mile further east and across from an abandoned pulverizing plant. The eastbound Amtrak, number 30, soon flies by with a very distinctive horn signal. We relocate to H.O. Tower just in time to catch Amtrak again. At Berkeley Springs, near H.O. Tower, we catch the local as it backs across a picturesque trestle. At H.O. Tower, L-396 flies by. The GP40 is out early with the work train this morning and sidles by the tower. .2206 is a slug, and it heads R-342 past the tower. Engineers prefer slugs on the point because of the reduced engine noise. Amtrak's number 29, heading west, provides a fitting tribute to action on the Magnolia Cutoff. Rail fanning the cutoff offers tremendous rewards for great train photography and action galore. Try it. You'll like it.